The chair recognizes the honourable member for Sea-Breeze.
The chair recognizes the honourable member for Sea-Breeze.
Madam Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Madam President, honourable members, distinguished guests. It was about 2 years ago when I rose in this honourable place for the very first time. At that time, I was an aspirant candidate participating in the historic Women in Parliament session. In preparation for today, I reflected on that same experience and how I was aspiring to be. And today, I can rise and say I am the Member of Parliament for Sea-Breeze. That feeling of aspiring to, hoping for, and pushing towards is a feeling I pray never leaves me, never leaves any of us. Just last week, I, along with some of my parliamentarian sisters, sat at the feet of Honourable Member for Angliston, Glenys Hannah Martin, and the first woman elected to the halls of Parliament, the Honourable Dame Janet Boswick, as a part of the 1973 Legends Masterclass series under the theme, Breaking Barriers. As Dame Boswick and Minister Hannah Martin poured into us, shared their wisdom and experiences, there was a sense of aspiration, if I could describe it as such, oozing from the young women in the room. It was contagious. That sense of hope and gratitude that twinkled in their eyes at the mere possibilities of all that awaits them. They buzzed around with questions and their eyes lit up at the mere fact of being in the room. In the room with yesterday's and today's leaders, with women whose shoulders we are standing on and among women whose shoulders they will stand on. They were inspired. They experienced in one evening all they aspired to be. May all of us here today, participating in this significant session, never forget that feeling, never losing sight that there is a young lady somewhere in our beautiful isles watching us, a young generation waiting on us, a seasoned generation holding us up, and the generation of today demanding of us to lead, to thrive, and empower. It is with this reminder that I am honored, Deputy Speaker, to rise in this honorable house and represent the amazing people of Sea-Breeze. I join the voices of my sister colleagues in representing all of the Bahamian women and girls everywhere, aspiring to advance national development, achieve equality, and experience equity as we chart the course for a stronger, more vibrant, more sustainable, and prosperous Bahamas. Deputy Speaker, I've been tasked with highlighting a special group of women and girls that are near and dear to my heart. The women and girls that have shaped and catapulted the development of the Bahamas through sports and culture. If you know me, among many things, I am an athlete and a cultural enthusiast. Two things I believe that are symbolic of being truly Bahamian. Sports represents our tenacity and determination as a people, and our cultural expression is an outlet for our creativity, our passion, and the gatekeeper of our history. It is in our step, our pitch, our jump shot, our dive that we prove our standard of excellence and world-class achievements. It is in our rhythm, our dance, our spoken word, beaten drum, handcrafted masterpieces that we tell our stories, express our uniqueness, and showcase our pride. Interestingly, I've spent the past year diving even deeper into our culture, as I have the honor of chairing the Independent Secretariat Commission for our nation's 50th independence celebrations. I am humbled by the Honorable Prime Minister and the Cabinet of the Bahamas, for entrusting me to lead a team of world-class professionals to curate such a milestone for our country. After Dorian and COVID and in the midst of economic changes and unforeseen circumstances, this team must remind the country that we have something to celebrate, so much to be proud of. And today, as women, as always, we are getting the celebration started.
Yes.
What's very interesting, Deputy Speaker, before we achieved the right to vote, we as women always had the right to create. Madam Speaker, I recall, and I am sure many of you ladies in here today can relate, sitting at the feet of our grandmothers, like mine, Alice Marie Bastian and Sybil Lockhart Miller, as they sewed from small hem repairs to school uniforms to fancy dresses for church. Now we have designers gracing the stages of international fashion shows, showcasing Bahamian couture from swimwear to formal wear, from creative tees to bridal gowns. The evolution of our creativity demonstrates our capacity, but more importantly, the tenacity of our creatives to take the Bahamas to the world. From one ambassador to another, I salute you champions of Bahamian creativity. I think we can all reflect briefly on many of the historical moments that ushered in change, and how at the moment's notice, at an arm's length, right along with our forefathers, were our foremothers, answering the call to fight, to speak up, and to march on. Among them were our straw vendors, women who have shaped with their hands token of our hospitality, women in our resilience and showcase our ability to take something and make it everything. Straw vendors who have welcomed our tourists, sacrificed to strengthen our middle class, advocated for the least of us, worked hard for the most of us, and ushered in techniques and methods that international designers envy. Their hands have shaped the way we create, representing the way we as Bahamian women can bend, twist, flex, but we do not break. Deputy Speaker, in keeping with the spirit of resilience and creativity, I am reminded of the words of Miss Arlene Nash Ferguson, one of the queens of Junkanoo, who was quoted in a recent BBC article. Madam Speaker, in keeping with the spirit of resilience and creativity, I am reminded of the words of Mrs. Arlene Nash Ferguson, one of our queens of Junkanoo, who was quoted in a recent BBC article as follows: "Junkanoo itself is the story of resilience. It is really a symbol of how strong and determined we are as a people. We've had Dorian and now we have COVID. And as we have done with every other crisis before this, we will survive. As we say in the Bahamas, we will bounce back. And that is just a part of who we is, to put it in Bahamian English." Madam Speaker, Junkanoo is a major part of who we is as Bahamians, who we is as Bahamian women. Junkanoo is a celebration, an unbreakable connection to our heritage and our ancestors. It connects all of us across the islands in spite of our socioeconomic differences, age, or gender. Junkanoo is a celebration that symbolizes the very nature of Bahamian womanhood, Bahamian motherhood. The ability to take raw materials and birth masterpieces. The fortitude to create and cultivate the greatest show on earth. The intricacies of design, the hypnotizing dance moves, The energetic sounds and the unforgettable feeling of Junkanoo music is unmatched and world-renowned. What's most important to highlight, Madam Speaker, is the role that women have played in such a pivotal part of who we are as a people. In the same article, Mrs. Nash Ferguson recalls a time in the 1940s when Junkanoo wasn't something women in particular participated in. There was a time when women were bystanders, and again a time when women merely tricked costumes and danced on the sidelines. But now, shoulder to shoulder, we see women beating goatskin drums and shaking cowbells. We experiencing women who have built costumes from concepts to realization. We see women leading Junkanoo groups and adding to value to the way we experience Junkanoo and take Junkanoo to the world. There's a common phrase amongst Junkanooers: don't get Jeff. It's a phrase to reflect costumes that never make it to Bay and get left in the shack. Women in this honorable place and Bahamian women everywhere, I want to remind you, don't get Jeff. Do not be left behind this lap. Do not allow the limited resources, the pressures of time, the noise in the shack, the unforeseen challenges to cause you to leave your dreams, your purpose, your gifts and talents behind. Ladies, this is a clarion call and a reminder to understand the assignment. We need you to rise to the occasion. We need you to finish what you've started. What you are creating is needed beyond the shack. Get to work and get on Bay.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, time doesn't permit me to dissect every precious and valuable aspect of our cultural contribution as Bahamian women, but I cannot take my seat without sharing these three nuggets with you. Firstly, we as Bahamian women have evolved our cultural experiences and expertise into local and global enterprises. More and more women are artists, artisans, chefs, food manufacturers, writers, entertainers, creatives. We have broken barriers in entrepreneurship and economic freedom. From Bahamian teas to pepper jellies and jams, comfort abata sold in food stores, international Bahamian restaurants, products on international shelves, international records and awards. Best-selling authors and poets, digital creators and national influencers. We are proud, but we are also thriving and prosperous and shaping the way that our nation and the world views and values Bahamian women. Secondly, we as women, especially Bahamian women, have to constantly fight this narrative that women don't support women. The thing is, culturally, it naturally unites us. From dance practices in preparation of Fox Hill Day, to choir rehearsals, to Junkanoo practices on Sunday nights, shared spaces at art galleries, collaborative fashion shows, mic checks for pop bands, shared boat rides at regattas, duet songs and shared studios. We unite. In cause and in culture, we find a rhythm we can all dance to. We find a beat that we can all march to, and we celebrate the similarities that connect us. Culture celebrates all that unites us, all that binds us, all that keeps us moving forward, upward, and onward together as Bahamians, as Bahamian women. Thirdly, we as women has always used our culture to express ourselves, our joy, our pain, our grief, our frustration, our freedom, our womanhood, through our art, stage plays, rehearsed dances, songs over gumbe beats and rake and scrape. We've shared our stories with each other and with the world. May we never lose our freedom of expression, never limit the power of our culture, and never underestimate a Bahamian woman with a mic, a pen, a sewing needle, or a rhythm. Madam Speaker, on another note, one thing is also for certain: never underestimate a Bahamian woman in sports. Our Bahamian female athletes are more golden than the medals they have adorned, more prized than their countless trophies, and stronger than any race or obstacle they've faced. In our lifetime, we've seen our golden girls take the world by storm and make room for Tonique, H.O.A, and countless others. We've witnessed the breaking of barriers, the jumping of hurdles, literally and figuratively, by Bahamian women challenging the status quo, beating national and international records, and grabbing the world's attention. We have seen Bahamian women in swimming, golf, tennis, basketball, softball, flag football, track and field, bodybuilding, and soccer defy the odds and take the Bahamas to the world. Because of their determination, their commitment, and their unwavering Bahamian pride, we've heard our national anthem play and our flag draped in arenas all around the world. Because of them, the world marks the manner of our bearing. Because of them, millions around the world know that we are the most beautiful and talented little country in the world. From one ambassador to another, I salute you, champions of Bahamian excellence and resilience. Madam Speaker, did you know that we are kicking off the road to 50th independence celebrations with a race of our very own? Our own golden girl, Pauline Davis, has already graced the New Providence route, and I wish to challenge all of my colleagues here and every woman and girl that hears this to join in this race to 50 on Saturday, December 3rd. When we developed this event, we only had in mind an activity that promoted our nation to be healthier and to be in a better shape as we usher in our 50th anniversary as an independent nation. But today, I am sounding the call for our Bahamian women and girls everywhere to join in the race to 50. Registration is free. You can walk or run or push, and it's happening nationwide on every island and every key. But Madam Speaker, I want everyone to know at the sound of my voice to join me and take it as a symbolic lap as we usher in the next 50 years of our country. Let's run a race united. Let's run a race as equal and equitable contributors to our nation's development and progress. Let's run a race that demonstrates our value and our tenacity. Let's run a race that our foremothers only dreamed of being able to do. Let's run a race that allows the next generation to fly. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and to my colleagues for this wonderful opportunity. Let's run.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Speaker is beaming with pride at the women today. As many